Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Yes, I am fine. We're waiting for the principal to join, ma'am. Then start the session.
No problem. No issues.
Yes. Mostly, ma'am, do you have any PPT to share?
Yeah.
So you.
I will be sharing.
Okay, ma'am. I'll enable it from my side, so you'll be able to share.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, Prachi.
Yes, ma'am.
I just spoke to the principal. She's having some network issues. So let's give her a little more time. She'll be joining. Good afternoon, Maushami. Thank you for joining.
So nice. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, you look tired already. Okay, let's see. Just 1 or 2 minutes. She's trying from her end.
No issues. No issues. Not in a hurry. This afternoon is for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, Prachi's sister has joined.
Yes, ma'am.
But I don't think so. We have her, audio connectivity. I can't see her audio connectivity. Let's see. Yeah.
Just 1 minute, ma'am. Yes, it is.
Sister's there.
With your permission, sister, should I begin?
Yes. Yes, Prachi, go ahead.
Yes, sister. Thank you. Honorable Principal and Chief Patron, Dr. Sister Jyoti. Honorable Vice Principal, Sister Shobha. Honorable Resource Person for the session, Professor Dr. Maushami Datta. Our workshop coordinator, Dr. Debjini Roy, HOD, PG Department of Geography, Nirmala College, Ranchi. Members of our advisory committee, organizing team, faculty members of various colleges and universities who have joined with us during this session, our most important participants, research scholars, and my dear colleagues. Good afternoon once again. I am Prachi Polikagga, your host for the 5-day international workshop on research capacity building for early career researchers. I welcome you all to the final and 5th day of the workshop. Before we begin, it's a small request from my side to all the participants to kindly keep their devices on mute mode so that the session is uninterrupted. And as we have been through all the rest of the sessions, the questions will be taken up at the end of the session with the resource person. With the august presence of our principal and chief patron, as well as our esteemed resource person, may I now request our principal, Dr. Sister Jyoti, for her blessings.
Thank you, Prachi. A very warm good afternoon to one and all. Our esteemed resource person, Dr. Mosmi Datta, NK College, Pune, organizers of 5-day international workshop and workshop coordinator, Dr. Devjani Roy, and her team, Dr. Pinky and Prachi, all faculty members, research scholars, and all dear participants. It is indeed a graceful day, a blessing full of God's graces and wonders for especially Nirmala fraternity, because it is indeed a great challenge as well as a task that has been carried out by our faculty members who took great interest and with great enthusiasm. This 5-day research capacity building has been organized, and I believe this is a great success. Success in a sense, the early researchers must have gained a lot of confidence, lots of ideas and knowledge to carry out their research. And I'm sure the interest must have been coming into their knowledge journey. The search of research, the search of knowledge must have been a thirst for them. And today we are on the 5th day of this workshop. And I am sure all of you are enriched and empowered by these 5-day deliberations. The resource person must have touched various points, various aspects, and must have been a great help to you. And I believe this was a blessing from the above. Let's bow down and seek his blessings.
चाहते हैं तू प्यार का
No, anyone will do. Anyone. Thank you so much. You can put some other date also.
May the God of wisdom and knowledge may the God of wisdom and knowledge bless each one of us and fill us with his light of knowledge, and in today's deliberation, so that each one is enriched with the power of knowledge, so to be able to contribute the same to the society. May God bless us all.
Thank you, sister. May I now request our workshop coordinator, Dr. Debjini Roy, to introduce our resource person for the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prachi. Good afternoon to one and all. Good afternoon, sister. I have the privilege of introducing today's resource person on the 5th and last day of the 5-day international workshop for capacity building for early career researchers. And we have with us today one of the most renowned researchers of our times. She has not only done a dual degree of master's in geography as well as an MBA. She holds a PhD also in geography. She is the principal of NK College, Mumbai, but she is basically a geographer and an academician par excellence. Today, I have a brief bio note, which I'll be sharing with you. Professor Maushmi Datta has been associated with research for a very long time. She has been part of 8 research projects, 2 major projects, 5 minor projects, and 1 industry consultancy. She has published almost 90 papers. She has co-edited 8 books and authored 2 reference books and 8 textbooks. Besides this, she has also presented papers at various national and international forums. She has been to Middlesex University, UK, to present a paper in 2008. After that, Pennsylvania University 2010, Princeton University 2011, then Delaware University 2013, Florida 2013, the list is endless. Professor Datta was the IQSC coordinator of our college. She was also the vice principal for some time. She headed the Department of Geography. She headed the PG Department of Geoinformatics. After that, she took up as the principal from 1st November 2021. And thereafter, she has been the principal of NK College of Mumbai, which is an A-grade, 3rd cycle A-grade college, one of the best colleges. She has been awarded with a number of awards, and today she has brought with her knowledge to share amongst all the participants so that you are benefited. And she will tell you how to write a research proposal, which is the last part of this workshop. I have already shared with you some small notes. Even the draft of the proposal has been shared with you in your WhatsApp group. Kindly see that properly. And if you have any other question, Professor Datta will be answering all your queries. I most humbly and warmly invite you, Professor Datta, to this forum to chair this session to enlighten our participants. And it's a great honor and privilege to have you with us today. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can I start?
Yes, please.
Yes, good afternoon to one and all present here. At the outset, I would like to thank Sister and Madam Devjani Madam, and the whole, actually the faculties of Nirmala College, who has invited me for this esteemed workshop. I'm extremely delighted to share my thoughts and whatever I know with all the participants, and I'm sure it will be all helpful to you. Sister, I'm so very lucky to have the blessings at the beginning of the session as well. Thank you so much for that. And I'll be, in my talk, actually, I'll be sharing a PowerPoint. I think I'm quite audible.
Yes,
you're audible.
yes.
Yeah, thank you
You're
so
audible.
much. Yeah, thank you so much. Now I have been given two small topics actually. So it's a research, it's ethical part of the research, and about the research proposal format, which is very, very important. So I will be touching on the ethical part of research, and then swiftly I will pass on to the format, the real format of a research paper, of a research proposal, I need to say research proposal, which is internationally accepted. So such proposals, when generally reaches to a funding agencies, are generally not denied. So we are putting our thoughts together for the next 1 hour, speak on ethical principles and about the research proposal format, and then we can have a question answer round, as I think Pinky has said it rightly. So I take a second to share my PowerPoint.
Professor Datta,
Yeah.
may I just add, can you be bilingual off and on? Will that be a
Yeah.
problem?
It will not, no, it will not be a problem, but only,
No, your slides will be in English totally, but
yeah,
okay.
yeah, because my Hindi is a combination of Bengali Hindi and Mumbai ka Hindi. So
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
If I go wrong with genders and grammatical parts,
No issues, no issues.
Yeah, definitely I will do that. So I will share my PowerPoint presentation, and it will be a very easy way by which we converse actually. So give me a second to share my presentation and I will start. Yeah, can you see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah, now can you see?
Yes.
Every one of you, yes. So I will be speaking today on the ethics in academic writing. What are the ethics we have to follow? There are certain rules we have to follow for writing a research, which I call it academic writing. And then we will slowly go into research proposal. The flow of the presentation, before we start, we have to know what I will be talking about. Then only we can reach to a proper summary. So in the beginning part, I will talk about ethics and academic writing, what we have to remember, and matlab kya hai, ethics ka matlab kya hai, kisko follow karna chahiye. So the ethics of academic writing. When aap jab ek research kar rahe ho, you are not only the holder, there are many holders of that research. So who are the stakeholders? Then hum log ek chota activity karenge. Sometimes kya hota hai, we do not do something unethical knowingly. हम लोग अनजान है, हम लोग को पता नहीं रहता क्या करना चाहिए. Then we make those mistakes unknowingly. But हम लोग फंस जाते हैं फिर. Then we don't realize that what mistakes we have done. So we will do a small activity where we speak on falsification, fabrication and plagiarism, and then the last part of my talk will be research proposal, how we should write a research proposal. I think after this you will be told, it will be very, very crystal clear to you. Now, what is this ethics? What do we mean by this concept of ethics and academic writing? Now, whenever we do something which is not right, that is known as, that is the ethical concern. Either when we are writing a research paper, or we are conducting a survey, or when we are publishing a research paper, when we are doing something which is exactly not right, this is known as ethics in academic writing. Now, there are certain qualities. Everyone cannot be a researcher. Let me be very, very clear. Although all of us are in academics, you will see only 10% becomes a good researcher. Why? What is the difference between why everyone cannot become a researcher? There should be certain qualities of a researcher, which is very, very important. Okay. Now, that is number one is honesty. Number two is objectivity. You should be clear. You should know what you should do and what you should not do. Integrity, almost the same thing. Very, very careful. Galti se bhi galti nahi karne ka. That is honest. You have to be very, very careful. Openness. Okay, where you have to be very, very transparent, because your research is something which you will not keep it in the cupboard. Your research is something which you will be sharing with everyone. So you have to be very, very open. Respect for intellectual property means somebody has a research, I take it, publish it in my name. No, you cannot do that. Confidentiality. Sometimes we deal with researchers which are very, very sensitive in nature. So whenever you're dealing with such sensitive issues, confidentiality has to be maintained. Responsible publication. As I teach, as we talk about falsification and fabrication, you will understand what is responsible publication. Social responsibility, that is your duty towards the society. Just because you're doing research, you cannot go and ask anyone anything. Animal care. This is applicable for researches based on science, maybe where there is an involvement of some animals, you have to care for them. Even human subject protection, that is also very, very important. So all these principles should be there. Then only you can really become a researcher. Just writing one paper or just getting a research project, a funded research project from UGC does not make you a researcher. There are many, many other qualities which are above all this, which makes you a researcher. Let's find out what we should maintain and what we should be responsible about. Now, when I talk of research, there are three stakeholders in research. Number one, participants. आप अगर प्राइमरी सर्वे कर रहे हो, प्राइमरी सर्वे के लिए आपको रिस्पोंडेंट तो चाहिए, otherwise how will you do a research survey? आप कैसे करोगे? So participants are very, very important. Number two, who is important? Researcher himself. You and me, we are researchers, so we are also important. And number three, at the end of this lecture, when you will prepare a research proposal, what will you do with that research proposal? You will develop on it, and maybe जब भी कोई funding agency आएगा, ICSSR आएगा या UGC आएगा, जो भी आते हैं, आप वो research proposal आप submit करोगे, so that आपको funding मिल सके. So that with that funding, you can carry on a research. Research always, it is not possible from our own money. It needs to be funded. Funding does not mean, I'm not talking about the money part of it. Money part is definitely required, but at the same time, it is recognized that you have been funded by somebody else to do a research, which becomes very, very respectable. So there are three main stakeholders in a research. Number one is participants. Number two is the researcher himself or herself. And number three is the funding body. Now, what do we mean by what? So when you are a research participant, so what things you have to remember? Take, for example, you are a researcher, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions, and you go to a respondent और आप जाके बोलते हो, मैं ये research कर रही हूँ और मेरे को ये question मैं आपको बताऊंगी, आप इसका आंसर दीजिए. नहीं, ऐसे करके नहीं होता है. आप जब भी जाओगे रिस्पोंडेंट का पास सर्वे करने के लिए, you have to gain that confidence. You have to tell them that you are doing a research, for two things you carry out a research. Number one, your research will be very, very helpful to the society. And number two, your research, higher level researches, your research will be taken up for policy framing. So as an early researcher, your research should be beneficial to the society. So पहले आप जाके आपको इंट्रोड्यूस करना पड़ेगा जहाँ पे एक रिसर्च कर रहे हो और जो रिसर्च आप कर रहे हो वो beneficial है for the society. This is very, very important. So once you tell the respondents, tell the participants that you're doing a research which will be helpful to the society, so definitely he or she will be ready to share the questions, ready to share the answers. Now, sometimes it happens that maybe a particular person is not ready. Don't force. You should never force in a research. You should be at your best self. You should be as polite as possible. You can go and ask the person that you want to do, you're doing a research, and his answers will be very beneficial. If he says no, it's fine. If he says yes, just record the information and bring it for your calculation. Number two, so as I said, you have to seek the consent. You have to tell the respondent what is the purpose of your research. Take for example, आप एक research कर रहे हो पर pollution के ऊपर, तो आप respondent को बोल सकते हो मैं pollution के ऊपर research कर रही हूँ, तो मेरे को पता चलेगा कौन से area में high pollution है, नहीं तो मेरे को पता चलेगा क्या क्या diseases pollution के लिए होता है. तो ये research का बाद I can go to the government and say, देखिए ये diseases हो रहा है, आप लोग कुछ कीजिए. So what are you doing? You are doing a research which will be helpful to the society. Your research has a purpose. So you are seeking the consent. So if they say yes, if they agree, you take the replies. If they don't, leave them with a big thank you and a smile. Sometimes it happens that the researchers have a wrong notion. The researchers say that, okay, आपको मैं ना चलो कुछ गिफ्ट देती हूँ, आपको और कुछ privileges देती हूँ, आप मेरे को ना ये ऐसा आंसर बोलिए. You should never do this. This is very, very unethical in nature. You tell your respondents the purpose of your research. You tell them how it can be beneficial to the society. You tell them how it can be beneficial to the government. And then if they agree, you take the replies. Don't try to induce them with any privileges or any gifts. Sometimes in some researches, बहुत sensitive issues लेके काम करते हैं. Take for example, somebody is doing a research on the young boys about the use of drug. It is a very, very sensitive issue. So when you're dealing with such sensitive issues, first of all, you have to tell the respondents that it will be confidential. Definitely. Suppose you're taking my interview and I say that I've been doing this. You just cannot go to the world and say like that. You might record my replies, or you cannot take my name and you cannot go and share it with anyone. Or somebody is doing a research on some group of people's sexual behavior. These are something very, very sensitive and very, very confidential. And not only that, you have to take the permission every time that whether the respondents are really they're eager to give the replies or not. So when you're dealing with such sensitive issues, you have to be very, very careful. Not only that, don't ask your respondents any question which can cause their discomfort, or it can increase the anxiety, or it causes some harassment, or they feel that you're intruding too much their personal life. Don't do like that. You know, such issues now, we don't remember when we make a questionnaire and go for survey. And unknowingly, we do many things which is very, very unethical. So my friends who are hearing to me, whenever we are doing a survey, we have to be very, very careful on these points. Sometimes, you know, so and always you have to remember, can you see the photo here? It's a man without a face. What does this mean? It means that you are recording his replies. You are taking his replies just as a respondent who does not have any name in your record. It is very, very necessary for a researcher. That I feel it is a very important quality of a researcher, how to maintain confidentiality. Not only that, you have to avoid bias. Okay, you cannot misinterpret anything, or sometimes no, some replies are not in your favor. So you just omit out those. You overlook. Don't do that. We have a research methodology. You just have a, you know, yesterday or day before yesterday, you have a topic on sampling, So you cannot have a biased sampling, you know. You cannot have sampling which can draw a wrong conclusion. You cannot do all this. So research now, main thing, you have to be very, very truthful to yourself and to the respondents with whom you're dealing to. Not only that, but the funding agency. Funding agencies, say UGC, ICSSR funds us. They fund us so that we can carry out the research. After you carry on the research, all the research, the conclusions of research, you're sharing with them. The funding agencies also have some ethical point. They cannot misuse the data. If they use the data, they have to tell you. They cannot omit out any part of the data. So researchers actually is there for everyone, for the respondents, for the researchers, as well as for the funding body. In short, you can say whoever is involved in research should maintain ethics. Once you maintain ethics, once you have a clear path of doing a research, your research will definitely bring out a very good, a fruitful result. My friends, can any one of you unmute yourself and tell me whether I'm clear or not? Then I can go to the activity where we can say that unknowingly how we are doing unethical practices in research. Any one of you, my dear participants. Can anyone unmute?
Yes, participants.
Yes, Debjani madam, I think I'm very clear. Everyone.
Yeah. Participants, आप लोगों को कोई प्रश्न है? You want to ask anything up to now? Yes. कोई सवाल? Any question? Yes, please. हाँ जी बोलिए. Someone is trying to unmute. आप बोल सकते हैं. Anyone? यहाँ बहुत सारे लोग हैं. सुदीप एक्का, would you like to say something? Are you all there or have you all gone up to sleep? Yes, participants. Ma'am is crisp and clear. Sudeep Ekka, do you have any problem by unmuting yourself? Aisha Siddiqui, it's clear, ma'am. Okay. So, but then, you know, if you don't unmute and speak, I don't know whether it's clear, ma'am. Khushbu Kumari. Professor Datta, do they need to speak when you're doing this exercise?
Now, if they want, they can. It becomes interactive because I'll be doing some small activity and then I can start on.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. So it's an interactive session. Kindly be interactive. This is a request to all of you.
So the questions become clearer,
Yes, yes.
And thank you so much. I'll proceed. Yeah. Now, let's do an activity. If you do an activity and participants, those who are sleeping, I'm sure you will wake up. Now, why it is not moving? Yeah. Now, see, just visualize a scenario. What is the scenario? There are two graduate students who have to measure something. Okay, they're doing it something statistically. Now, every one of you can see the graph which I've drawn, X and Y graph. Now, in the graph, they have taken up a hypothesis. If you see, all the points has been plotted on the curve which is drawn, but there are 2 points downstairs. Okay, much more below. So what do these 2 students do? Then to prove the hypothesis, these 2 students said that let's omit out those 2 points. Is it right or wrong? I need to hear from you. It's right or wrong? You can write in your chat box as well.
Dolly Kumari of Ranchi Women's College is saying it's wrong.
It is wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
More
why?
answers? Why? Yes, Dolly Kumari.
Dolly, please unmute yourself. Would like to hear you speak, please.
Anyway, I will proceed. Okay. So, yeah. So this is definitely wrong. Why this is wrong? Because it is wrong. Because here we are dealing with falsification of data. We are giving us false idea. Whatever comes on the picture, you have to take up all the points in the graph. You just cannot omit out some points because it is not according to your data set. So this type of unethical behaviors we should avoid. Take for example, we have group 2. I've taken up 5 instances, which will tell you that how unethical we can become unknowingly sometimes. Let's read group 2. A group of medical students conducted a research on the awareness of diabetic diet. That was the topic. The research was recognized as the best undergraduate research, and later they submitted the same research paper to 2 different journals to see which journal publishes it first. This is very, very unethical. What was the unethical point? The unethical point was submitting in 2 different journals. You see, your research is the best, has been recognized the best, but you cannot submit in 2 different journals. You have to submit in 1 journal. If it is rejected, then you have to make the changes and then resubmit in the same place or in a different place. But you just cannot submit at the same time in 2 different journals. This is totally unethical in nature. Like I have 90 papers and I say that I have 109 papers. So what am I doing? I am giving a false idea about number of publications. This is a falsification of data. In this case, what should I have done? I should have given it to 1 journal, wait for the responses, and then submit it to another. So you publish or cannot submit the same research paper at 2 places at the same time. See group number 3. What did group number 3 do? Students are required to prepare a research proposal during their undergraduate program. Niemal developed the idea for this project. Niemal is the name of a student. Niemal developed the idea for this project and discussed with a friend. Several months later, he found that his idea had been submitted as a research proposal by his friend without his knowledge. Don't you feel it is unethical? Sometimes we do share our ideas with our friend, but the friend cannot take my idea. It is a type of stealing. You cannot take my idea and make a research paper of its own. So what does this known as? This is known as, this is an intellectual property. It is an unethical behavior. If you take somebody from something from somebody, some ideas, some whatever in research, if you have to give credit to that person. If you do not give credit to a person, it is an unethical behavior. Let's see what happened to group 4. There are 4 friends who decide to work together on a research project. One of them went abroad during the vacation and did not contribute to the research. Now, after all, friends are friends. हम लोग friends का लिए कितना कुछ कर लेते हैं. तीनों friend ने काम किया, चौथा friend ने काम नहीं किया. But जब ये नाम लिखने का बारी आया, all 4 names were written. Ideally, क्या होना चाहिए था? All 4 students should have worked, and then only 4 names should have come. But that did not come. So what is this? Don't you feel it is unethical in nature? Definitely it is unethical in nature. Only those who have worked, their name should be there. Otherwise, it should be omitted it out. Group number 5. Again, a group of undergraduate students were there. They were working with the bank officers. You know, they went to a bank and they were working with the bank officers about their working hours, about the salary they get. Okay, and they wanted to bring out a relationship with high blood pressure. They wanted to say that more the working hour, more is the level of the high blood pressure. They did for a bank. Then they use the same data for some other group. Can you do that? You cannot do that. This is also known as unethical behavior. You are violating the principles of consent and confidentiality. Suppose I say, yes, my working hour is very high, and because of this college, I'm getting high blood pressure. You just cannot go out and tell the world that this is happening. So these are all very, very unethical in nature. So my dear friends, what happens from these 5 small activities? We could understand that sometimes unknowingly we do many things. Sometimes we feel it is very, very simple. Those who have not worked include their name, or you have taken up a survey for somebody, you just put it on somebody else, or you just take somebody's idea and put it as your own. These are very small things. Kuch nahi hua attitude hai, kuch nahi hoga, kya ho jayega, badi baat nahi hai. But these badi baat becomes unethical in nature. In research, you should be very, very careful about what you do. So ये unethical का मतलब क्या है? Unethical का मतलब होता है तीनों चीज. Number 1, fabrication, मतलब नया data बनाना. I'll give you examples. Falsification, that means false research, manipulating the research. Plagiarism, किसी और का idea लेके खुद डाल दो. It is known as plagiarism. ये तीनों चीज जब भी रहता है, इसको बोलता है unethical in nature. I was just talking about fabrication of data. What is fabrication of data? Take, for example, geography students. They have to go for a field trip. They don't go to the field trip. And कुछ भी data, internet, अपना professor Google तो है ही, उधर से लिख देता है. So you are just creating a new record. How can you artificially create a data? You have to go to the field and then make the data. Artificially, you cannot create a data. So when you invent a data, when you discover a data, it is known as fabrication of the data. Falsification, we just said that you just alter your results or put somebody else's name, put your idea, somebody else's idea is your idea. These are known as falsifications. Now, what is plagiarism? Plagiarism is to kidnap. You're not kidnapping a person physically. What are you doing? You are just taking, you are just a moment. Plagiarism means you're taking somebody else's data and you're saying that as if it is your own. It is known as plagiarism. Let us see, there are various types of plagiarism which are applicable. Now, some say that somebody else's idea borrow kiya to kya ho gaya, kya badi baat hai? Kuch badi baat nahi hai. You can always take somebody else's work in your research. But when you take somebody else's work for your research, you have to give credit to that person. You have to write that this idea has been taken from this. You have to give credit. If you do not give the credit and you just take somebody's work and publish it as if it is your own, it is known as plagiarism. It is known as an intellectual theft and it is punishable under the Copyright Act of 1957. UGC in India will accept plagiarism up to 10% only. So those who are giving your research proposals or you're giving a research report or even submitting a PhD, you have to do a plagiarism test. And in that plagiarism test, it has to be less than 10%. Then only it is accepted, otherwise it is not. Let us find out what are the common types of plagiarism. Some things that are known as clone plagiarism. What do you mean by clone plagiarism? As it is. Jaisa book mein hai, jaisa dusre ne likhna, the same thing I am writing. This is known as clone plagiarism. Just see something which is written in black. Deers are browsing animals, feeding on fruits, leaves, shoots, and tall grasses. Same to same. Colored is white. Deers are browsing animals, feeding on fruits, leaves, shoots, and tall grasses. Same thing. Word to word copy kiya. Isko bolta hai clone plagiarism. I become smarter. I copy the full thing, but I change only some words. Take for example, I say, deers are browsing animals. Instead of browsing, I write down, deers are non-stationary. Deers are non-stationary animals. So meaning is the same. Meaning is the same. Browsing and non-stationary ka matlab same hi hai. But I become much more smarter here. Feeding on fruits. Instead of writing the word feeding, I put the word eating fruits. So I write the same thing, but I only change some words. I use the technique of find and replace. This is also a type of plagiarism. Remix. What do you mean by remix? Abhi to remix ka zamana hai. Gaane ka bhi remix hota hai. Videos ka bhi remix hota hai. So you take it from multiple sources. Okay, गाने का remix कैसे होता है? Take it from multiple sources and fit it together. Similarly, इधर भी वही लिया. 2-3 books से 2-3 idea ले लिया, and then you mix it up together and say as if you have written. This is known as remix plagiarism. Something is known as recycle plagiarism. What do you mean by recycle plagiarism? Now, I have 90 papers. Now, all 90 papers I've not written in 1 year, no? It must have taken 20 years to write 90 papers. So what I do, the papers which has been published in 2001, 2002, whatever, I take those papers, I use those ideas and make a new paper. So what am I doing? I am cheating with myself. This is known as recycle plagiarism. Even though you have written that paper, but that was already been published. If something has already been published, if you take it from that, you have to cite yourself. Take for example, I will have to cite Datta Moshumi 2001. Has written this. So you have to cite your old papers as well. This is known as recycle plagiarism. Mashup. What is mashup? Mixed copied materials with multiple sources. From 10 books, 20 books, thoda leke, 1 line, 2 line, sab jagah se leke, ekdam mashup kar diya. Just like, this, I think in Eastern India, your potato mashups are very choka. You know, aloo choka is very, very important. It's just like aloo choka, where you take up everything from different sources and ekdam usko choka bana dete ho. This is known as mash-up plagiarism. 404 error. What is this 404 error? Which does not exist at all. You write something and you just write, invent a name of a book. Or exist in nahi karta. You just invent a name of a book. So this is known as 404 error in plagiarism. So my friends, we'll just have a quick refreshing thing on common types of plagiarism. Number one is the clone plagiarism, where exactly the same you copy, find and replace, exactly the same. Only some words you change, remix, take it from multiple sources, make a single paragraph of both the sources, recycle, take it from your own paper which was published before, mash up, take from several things, and you mash up in such a manner as if it looks like a new work. This is known as a mashup. 404, it does not exist at all. Okay, you write down a paragraph and then you write down some author's name who has never written that. This is known as 404. There are some common types of plagiarism. You know, these are very, very interesting, and all of you should know when you are a researcher. You know, some papers you will find they're known as a potluck paper. What do you mean by potluck paper? Potluck paper is such a paper where you potluck mein kya hota hai? Potluck lunch mein kya hota hai? Pot lunch mein kya hota hai? Everyone brings one dish. And then from everyone you take little and have a lunch, you know, variety of lunches. Potluck paper is also the same, where you take little ideas from variety of paper and make a single paper. It is known as a potluck paper. It is a highest form of plagiarism. Photocopy. What is a photocopy? Clone plagiarism. Without making any changes, you just make a paper. It is known as a photocopy. Self-stealer, just now I said, remix plagiarism. You take it from your own paper, that is also punishable. Ghostwriter is the highest form of plagiarism. What is this ghostwriter? In ghostwriter, nothing is of your own. Neither idea is of your own, nor the written part is of your own. Just maybe you write your own name. Your name is of your own. So it is 100% plagiarism. It is known as a ghostwriter. So friends, these are the different types of plagiarism. I spoke only of the main types because I have other things also to speak on. But you should have an idea about the potluck paper, about photocopy, about self-stealer, and about the ghostwriter. Plagiarism is definitely under section 63, as I've said. It is punishable. It can land up to imprisonment of 3 months, but not more than 3 years. Compensation of 50,000, but not more than 2 lakhs. In India, by UGC, up to 10%, there is no penalty. 10 to 40%, you have to change the manuscript. 40 to 60% plagiarized material if you give, you may be suspended for 1 year, and more than 60%, you can be out of the research body totally. There are many detection tools which are there. You have to check your plagiarism report before you submit. Whenever you will be making a research proposal, which I'll be talking of now, that also has to be done plagiarism tested, and then only you can submit. Main thing in research is that you have to be very, very original. Okay, you are cheating with yourself. We are speaking of so many varieties of pollution, but this is known as publication pollution. So friends, this publication pollution you have to avoid if you want to be a researcher in a true sense. We have completed about the research ethics. Now I come to the format of the research proposal, which is very, very important. Whenever you're making a format, a research proposal, you have to follow a format. If you do not follow a format, your research will not give a good start. If you do not follow a format, your research proposal, if you're submitting it to any agency, it will not be accepted. Before I start, I should tell you one thing you have to remember. Whenever you make a research proposal, you have to be very, very convincing in nature, because everyone makes a good proposal, but your proposal will be a great proposal. When it is a great proposal, then only your proposal will be accepted, otherwise not. Let us see how did this proposal structure come in. You know, with due respect to all the researchers, even today, this format of research proposal is not very well, or awareness has not spread that. But we don't realize how, if we do not follow this format, if my proposal does not have a format, my research can never be good. Actually, this proposal structure started in the Western world. In USA, it started, and then slowly it came to India. In USA, oak tree is supposed to be a very, very sacred tree. We always start with the story, and an oak tree is the sign of strength. An oak tree is a sign of endurance. You have to be very, very patient when you're doing a research. And oak tree symbolizes knowledge. So, and if everyone can see the leaf of an oak tree. I know you will not reply, but I think on my screen you can see a leaf of an oak tree. The leaf of an oak tree has got 7 tips. So in the Western culture, they say even a proposal should have 7 points. What are those 7 points? They invented a word known as tie polymer. What does tie polymer mean? T means title, I means introduction, P means problem statement, O is research objective, LI is review of literature, ME is research methodology, and R is the reference. So whenever you make a proposal structure, you have to include the 7 points. However, at present, we do not follow the 7 points. We have changed over to a modern structure, and the modern structure has got 10 points. You have to write this 10 points to make a proper proposal, proper research proposal. What are those 10 points? I will be quickly taking you over one by one. Number 1 is project title and abstract. 2, introduction and conceptual background. 3 is your problem statement. 4 is the research objective and hypothesis. 5 is review of literature. 6 is research methodology. 7 is innovativeness. 8 is implication of the proposed study. 9 is the budget. When you're asking money, you should ask for the budget. Number 10 is the time frame, reference, and plagiarism. Let us quickly move on one by one. Before that, if I can interrupt, did everyone understood about the ethical part and the previous structure, ancient structure and the modern structure? Debjani madam, if you can ask them.
Yes. किसी को कुछ पूछना है इसमें, because I have also shared a framework of proposal, research proposal, how to prepare a proposal, and which is similar to what madam has shown. उसमें एक title होना बहुत जरूरी है.
So I will be going that one by one.
Yes. Yeah. टाइटल होना जरूरी है. और मैंने ये I had told you all also, in fact I shared it this morning, last night I shared it with them. Have you gone through it? The participants, have you gone through it? A title should actually reflect what you're trying to say. The title can have a subtitle also.
I will explain them one by one.
Yeah, okay. One by one. Yes,
so none of them have any queries as such, I feel.
Do you have a query, then you can put it in the chat box. Agar aapko kuch, if you want to, if you cannot unmute, you can put in your chat box and we'll take up the questions. Up to here, do you have anything? Because aapko certificate milega tabhi jab aap proposal submit karenge. That is mandatory, क्योंकि ये एक international workshop है. इसमें कोई रजिस्ट्रेशन फी तो आपसे लिया नहीं गया, लेकिन हमारी ये कोशिश है कि आप लोग रिसर्च की तरफ इंक्लाइंड हो जाए, इसीलिए हम लोगों ने ये सब किया। तो आप काइंडली जो भी आपके सवाल है, जो whatever you want to ask, you can ask. We are here to clear all your doubts. So, yes. Anybody who would like to ask any questions?
Then I can
Marshall?
start. Yeah, I can start now.
Yeah, please start.
Yeah. So this 10 points. Now let us go to the points one by one. Yeah. Number one is a project title. Let us see, what do I mean by project title? Always, the project title has to be brief, it has to be clear, it has to be meaningful. It is a rule that the project title should not increase 15 words. Project title एक paragraph कभी भी नहीं हो सकता. It should be in a single line, maximum 15 words. But this 15 words बहुत मीनिंगफुल होना चाहिए, इतना मीनिंगफुल होना चाहिए जो टाइटल पढ़ के यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट प्रपोजल में क्या है, व्हाट रिसर्च यू आर ट्राइंग टू डू. समटाइम्स नो यू हैव अ रॉन्ग नोशन जे अब हार्ड वर्ड्स लगा दो. इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट. आपका रिसर्च टाइटल सिंपल होना चाहिए. इट शुड बी इजी टू रिमेंबर. आप याद रखना, मैक्सिमम टाइम दिस रिसर्च title we read. So it has to be very simple. It should be short, maximum 15 words, and ऐसा meaningful होना चाहिए जो research के बारे में कुछ बोलता है. Take for example, I've given one example. I have a title, Red-Haired Musicians and Their Preferences for Musical Style. I have the second title, Music Style Preference of red-haired musician. Definitely, you will feel that the second title is the best. Why do you think second title is the best? It is the same thing, but and there sab nikal diya, short kar diya, but meaning is the same. We can understand that red-haired musicians who are very, very famous in USA, red-haired musicians का music style preference का बारे में हमने research करनी. Short does not mean that इतना भी short हो जाए जो आपको कुछ समझ में ही नहीं आता. Take for example, I have another title called African Politics. अबे African Politics, what is the topic? African Politics, किसका what are you going to study about African politics? उन लोग का democracy है, dictatorship है, क्या है, किसके बारे में पढ़ रहे हो? You don't know anything. You just write African politics. So I don't understand anything from the title. So such type of titles are not accepted. और एक टाइटल देखो, a study to investigate the education level. आप अगर कुछ investigate करोगे, आपको तो study करना ही पड़ेगा ना. So why are you writing a study to investigate education level? ये तो बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है. So you can never take up such type of titles which are so long. Once you're finished with your project title, you have to write an abstract. Now, generally, क्या होता है? Abstract you write at the end, because आपका proposal लिखने का बाद आपको थोड़ा-थोड़ा लिखे abstract लिखना पड़ता है. But project title का नीचे ही आपका abstract होना चाहिए. Now, abstract में what is to be there? There has to be a subject area. There has to be objectives. What are you studying? There has to be a methodology. क्या methodology में? What is your research methodology? What are the expected results? Because research proposal में you don't have the result. अगर आप result भी कर देते हो, आप अगर survey भी करके सब कुछ कर ही देते हो, that does not remain a proposal. It becomes a research. Then you should also include what resources you should require. And you have to be very, very particular when you're writing this abstract, because it has to be written in third person and it has to be at the passive. So when you finish, आप जब finish कर देते हो लिखना आपका research proposal, उसके बाद last में आप लोग abstract लिखो. After you write the abstract, I'm coming to the main part of the research proposal. In the main part of the research proposal, number 1 will be your introduction. Introduction to hona hi chahiye. Now, introduction ko sometimes I say it is a gentle beginning. Why do I say? Okay, they want in Hindi. ठीक है. Now, introduction का मतलब क्या होता है? आप स्टडी का बैकग्राउंड देते हो, बैकग्राउंड ऑफ द स्टडी आप बोलते हो. ओके, मतलब टॉपिक आपका छोटा रहता है, बट बैकग्राउंड ऑफ द स्टडी आप इंट्रोडक्शन में देते हो. तो किसके बारे में आप रिसर्च करना चाहते हो? सो दैट इज द बैकग्राउंड ऑफ द स्टडी. एज इफ बिकॉज ये रिसर्च प्रपोजल दूसरे किसी का पास जा रहा है, आपको पता भी नहीं है, आपको समझ में भी नहीं आता है, आप तो उधर नहीं रहोगे ना समझाने के लिए, तो दूसरे लोग को पढ़ के समझना पड़ेगा आपका रिसर्च. सो एज इफ so you are giving it to an unknown person, so that is why background of the study आपको बहुत अच्छी तरीके से लिखना पड़ेगा. This is in the introduction. Now, sometimes what happens, introduction के साथ ना, sometimes especially the researchers where you're taking from science, आप लोग बहुत सारे theories use करते हो. Research proposal में आपका बहुत सारे theories आ जाता है. Okay. Now, so introduction में आपको include करना चाहिए, उसका नाम होता है conceptual background. Conceptual background means आप एक diagram draw करो, diagram draw करके आप बोलो कि ये मेरा जस्टिफिकेशन है, ये थ्योरी में यूज करूंगी, ये थ्योरी यूज करती हूँ तो मैं रिसर्च और भी अच्छी तरीके से कर सकती हूँ. सो अगर आप कुछ थ्योरीज यूज करते हो, देन यू इंक्लूड दैट इन योर इंट्रोडक्शन. दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ, what is a research, my dear friends? Research means you're dealing with the problem. रिसर्च मीन्स एक प्रॉब्लम है, वो प्रॉब्लम का बारे में आप रिसर्च कर रहे हो और उसका आप सॉल्यूशन निकाल रहे हो. अनलेस एंड अनटिल एक प्रॉब्लम रहता है, आपका रिसर्च नहीं होता है. अनलेस एंड अनटिल अ प्रॉब्लम इज देयर, देयर कैन नॉट बी एनी रिसर्च. थ्रू द रिसर्च आप उसको प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कराते हो. So इसको बोलता है प्रॉब्लम, इसको बोलता है प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट. सो प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट कैसे लिखा जाता है? टेक फॉर एग्जांपल, मेरे घर के बाजू में एक स्लम है. स्लम में बहुत सारे लोगों को वाटर बॉर्न डिजीजेस होता है, और मेरे को समझ में आता है क्यों वाटर बॉर्न डिजीजेस होता है, क्योंकि बहुत गंदगी है, इसीलिए वाटर बॉर्न डिजीजेस होता है. सो मैं रिसर्च करना चाहती हूँ कि अनट्रीटेड सीवेज, जो गंदगी पड़ा हुआ है, उसका बारे में आई वांट टू डू अ रिसर्च दैट ये सब गंदगी वाटर बॉर्न डिजीजेस कर रहे हैं ये स्लम में इन मुंबई. सो आई वांट टू स्टडी. So what am I doing? I have a problem. What is the problem? The problem is the गंदगी जो आपका स्लम में है, untreated sewage जो आपका घर में आपका स्लम में है. तो इसका बारे में मैं पढ़ना चाहती हूँ, इसका बारे में मैं प्रपोजल लिख के रिसर्च करना चाहती हूँ. So ये मेरा प्रॉब्लम है. Always आप जब भी एक प्रपोजल बनाओगे, see to it there is a problem. एक प्रॉब्लम नोट आपको लिखना ही पड़ेगा. अगर आप प्रॉब्लम नहीं लिखते हो, आपको अब वो रिसर्च करके कुछ फायदा ही नहीं है. पढ़ने के लिए रिसर्च कोई नहीं करता, आपको प्रॉब्लम लेके पढ़ के उसको सॉल्यूशन देने का है, उसके बाद उसका नाम है रिसर्च. This is the most excellent part of the proposal. So always try to find out what type of problems you are dealing with. Once you get the problem, you will have to write down the research objectives. Problem से आप point wise लिखो, आपका research objectives क्या क्या है. Take for example, आप किसके बारे में पढ़ रहे हो? अब आप रिसर्च कर रहे हो, आप रिसर्च कर रहे हो जो सीवेज है, जो गंदगी है इन द स्लम, जो वाटर बॉर्न डिजीजेस कर रहा है, उसका बारे में आप पढ़ रहे हो. तो आप कैसे ऑब्जेक्टिव लिखोगे? To study or you can write to determine the untreated sewage in the slum of Mumbai, to develop a solution plan to solve the problem of the untreated sewage. So problem से आपको 2-3 objective of the study करना पड़ेगा. ये objective of the study should always match with the problem. Objective of the study should neither be too less, एक नहीं होना चाहिए, neither be too many, 10 भी नहीं होना चाहिए. Sentences, it should be short. And ऐसा objectives you have to develop which are achievable and measurable. जो आप proof करना सकते हो वैसे आपको करना पड़ेगा. So friends, what did we do? Number 1, we have done the project title, short होना चाहिए. Number 2, the abstract also paragraph में होना चाहिए. We will write at the end. Introduction, किसके बारे में आप research कर रहे हो. आप अगर कुछ theory use कर रहे हो तो वो है conceptual background. कौन सा प्रॉब्लम लेके आप काम करना चाहते हो उसको बोलते हैं प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट. फ्रॉम द प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट यू आर डेवलपिंग अ रिसर्च ऑब्जेक्टिव. Sometimes in a research proposal, you also have to give hypothesis. Hypotheses should be questions which are there. They should be testable and measurable. मैं आपको बोलती हूँ कैसे hypothesis लिखा जाता है. I think every one of you have heard about null hypothesis and the alternate hypothesis. Take for example, I am doing a research on number of lectures which the student attend and उसका result. मतलब लेक्चर और रिजल्ट में क्या आपका लेक्चर और एग्जाम में कि आपका रिलेशनशिप क्या है. तो मैं 2 हाइपोथेसिस डेवलप करती हूँ. एक है नल हाइपोथेसिस, उसमें क्या लिखती हूँ, द नंबर ऑफ लेक्चर्स अटेंडेड बाय द फर्स्ट ईयर स्टूडेंट्स हैज नो इफेक्ट ऑन द फाइनल एग्जाम स्कोर. मतलब whether they attend the lecture or they don't attend the lecture, their exam result has got no relationship with it. और alternate hypothesis just उसका opposite लिखना पड़ता है, that number of lectures have a positive impact on the final exam scores. मैं आपके साथ बात कर रही थी about the sewage problem in the slums. तो मैं कैसे hypothesis develop करूंगी? मैं null hypothesis develop करूंगी. The sewage has got no relationship with the number of waterborne diseases. और alternate hypothesis मैं कैसे develop करूंगी? The sewage has a effect on the number of waterborne diseases. So आप उसके बाद I will do the survey, I will find out a conclusion and मेरे को पता चलेगा AIDS a null hypothesis को accept करने का है या alternate hypothesis को accept करने का है. Now, so हम लोग क्या क्या पढ़ा है? अभी project title होना ही चाहिए, abstract होना ही चाहिए, introduction, short note देंगे about the research, कुछ theory use करते हैं तो उसको conceptual background. You are always dealing with the problem. You have to write down the problem statement. From the problem statement, you come to research objectives. From research objectives, you develop the hypothesis, null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis, जो opposite होता है. इसके बाद मैं review of literature. Review of literature is a very, very important part of your research proposal. A review of literature का मतलब क्या है? Review of literature means मैं library में, in the library you go and you read about this topic. What was my topic? Sewage and waterborne diseases. मैं जाके पता करती हूँ from different books, from different journals, who else have studied about this research, who else have researched on these points. We have to find out because जो already कर चुके हैं उसका बारे में research करके तो कुछ फायदा नहीं है. You have to always do research on a new topic. It's not necessarily new. Sometimes आप पुराना topic लेके भी काम कर सकते हो, but in a different area आप काम कर सकते हो. Sometimes you work in a different manner. Research methodology आपका अलग है. So you are in a literature review means you go to the library or you go to Google Scholar and you find out who has studied about the topic about which you are writing the research proposal. देखो एक फोटो में लगाया है एक क्लॉक से और एक क्लॉक, one person is jumping. What does this mean? रिसर्च प्रपोजल एक दिन में तो बनता नहीं है, बहुत टाइम लेता है. मैक्सिमम टाइम आपका जाता है in literature review. Always when you are trying to हाँ, तभी you try to find out. You take lot of time to do literature review, but अगर आप literature review में बहुत सारे time देते हो, you develop a grip in that field. So it is very rewarding in nature. Okay, now take for example, जैसे मैंने बोला pollution का बारे में, मैं pollution का बारे में पढ़ना चाहती हूँ. आप अगर कुछ book निकाल के लिखते हो pollution, ऐसा करके तो pollution में हजारों चीज लाखों में आ जाएगा. So you will not be able to understand. So in that case, आपको ना topic को छोटा करना पड़ता है. Suppose pollution में आप research करना चाहते हो acid rain का बारे में, तो acid rain. Acid rain, किधर का acid rain का बारे में आप पढ़ना चाहते हो? Suppose you want to do a research on acid rain in USA. So acid rain in USA. वो topic आप देखिए, आप ढूंढते रहो from different books, from different journals. You try to find out, and then only you will be able to do a proper review of literature. Review of literature is very important because it helps you to understand ये आप कौन आपका ये research किया है, what is the background. It becomes a handy guide. It is a stepping stone for research. That it is very important. So different source say you can do a literature review. From a book you can do it from journals, you can do it from newspaper, you can do it from historical records. इतना सारे जगह से you can take ideas that who else have studied about your research, the topic which you have chosen. But my friends, before submitting a research proposal, always try to find out who else have studied about this topic. This type of literature review is a very important part of your research. Sometimes हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, sometimes लोग वो record कैसे रखें? Sometimes हम लोग क्या करते हैं, देखिए research का name क्या है, date of publication, paper title, कौन सा paper से लिया है, and that is coming in which objective, first objective, second objective or third objective. So different books से, कुछ books आप ancient books से ले लो, कुछ आप current books से ले लो. So in different books से you can take it. When you're writing the literature review, you have to write it in 3 parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. So in the research proposal, when you're writing this literature review, you make it 3 parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. Some literature review, you have to take it from international books and international journals. Some you can take it from national journals. So इस तरीके से आप समझ सकते हो जे क्या रिसर्च, जो टॉपिक में आप काम कर रहे हो, क्या रिसर्च हुआ है, क्या रिसर्च नहीं हुआ है. That means we say that you can understand the gap in the research. When you can understand the gap in the research, this is the reason why you do a literature review. Whenever you identify the gap in the research and you say that this type of research has never happened and I want to do it, your research will be a successful one. So always when you do a literature review, you have to find out the gap. Make example देती हूँ. मुझे ट्रैफिक कंजेशन मुंबई के बारे में पढ़ने का था, तो मेरे को पता नहीं था कौन रिसर्च किया इसके बारे में, ट्रैफिक कंजेशन इन मुंबई. तो मैं जब लाइब्रेरी में जाके डिफरेंट बुक्स लिया, डिफरेंट जर्नल्स लिया, गूगल में सर्च किया, गूगल स्कॉलर में डिफरेंट जर्नल्स डाउनलोड किया, तभी मैंने देखा जे ग्वालियर में बहुत स्टडी हुआ है इसके बारे में, आसनसोल में बहुत स्टडी हुआ है, दिल्ली में बहुत स्टडी हुआ है, बट मुंबई में इसके बारे में स्टडी नहीं हुआ है. तो मेरे पास प्रूफ है कि इतना सारे जगह में काम हुआ है, लेकिन मुंबई में काम ऐसा नहीं हुआ है. सो that became my main incentive. That became my main incentive that हाँ, मुंबई में तो ऐसा काम नहीं हुआ तो मैं ये काम कर सकती हूँ. सो जिसके पास मेरा रिसर्च प्रपोजल जा रहा है वो भी समझ पाएगा, हाँ ये टॉपिक तो एकदम नया है, मुंबई का रिसर्च ट्रैफिक का बारे में तो कोई पढ़ाई नहीं किया, तो ये बारे में आप पढ़ सकते हैं. Research methodology, you will have to say research methodology में what will you have to cover? Coverage, किधर से आपको डेटा मिलेगा, How will you collect the data, secondary data, primary data, और कैसे आप data analysis करोगे? Okay, you have to write down in your research proposal. This is very, very important. It is known as the research methodology. Innovativeness. आपका research proposal हटके होना चाहिए, simple. जो मैं पहले ही बोला था, it is not a good research proposal, it has to be a great research proposal. तो आपका research proposal में कुछ भी नया बात आना चाहिए. So innovativeness क्या है? जैसा मैं अभी बोला ना आपको ये ट्रैफिक कंजेशन के बारे में मैं प्रूफ कर दिया, ये आपका ग्वालियर में किया है, दिल्ली में पढ़ाई किया है, पर मुंबई में आपका हुआ ही नहीं है. तो इसीलिए मुंबई में तो ये आपका इनोवेटिवनेस है, ये आपका इनोवेटिवनेस है, ये नया है, मुंबई का स्टडी आपका नया है. तो दिस इज द इनोवेटिवनेस. ये आपको प्रूफ कर, जब भी आप ये प्रूफ कर पाओगे ना, तभी आपका रिसर्च प्रपोजल विल बी एक्सेप्टेड. चलो, नया तरीका तो हो गया. उसके बाद आपको इम्प्लीकेशन देना चाहिए. आप रिसर्च जो करोगे क्यों कर रहे हो? आपका ऐसे पढ़ने का कुछ काम नहीं है, पढ़ने का लिए तो नहीं कर रहे हो. मैं बोला 2 चीज के लिए रिसर्च लोग करते हैं. एक है सोसाइटी को हेल्प करने के लिए, नंबर 2 इज पॉलिसी मेकर को हेल्प करने के लिए. तो आप रिसर्च टॉपिक ऐसा चुनिए जो दूसरे को हेल्प होता है. Nowadays research is not confined to a particular subject, but research means it is an interdisciplinary. पूरा सोसाइटी को हेल्प करेगा, पूरा गवर्नमेंट को हेल्प करेगा. So that is called an implication of the research, which you have to mention in your research proposal. आपको बजट भी देना पड़ेगा, कितना पैसा आपको लगेगा, कितना पैसा आप दोगे, रिसर्च स्टाफ को कितना दोगे, फील्ड वर्क के लिए कितना दोगे, इक्विपमेंट खरीद के लिए कितना दोगे, जेरोक्स के लिए कितना रखोगे, पब्लिकेशन के लिए कितना रखोगे. सो ये आपको हेड्स ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर करके प्रपोज बजट देना पड़ेगा. मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, आपको टाइम फ्रेम भी देना पड़ेगा. आप क्या 5 साल लेके एक छोटा सा प्रोजेक्ट करोगे? नहीं चलेगा. तो आपको टाइम फ्रेम ऐसे बनाना पड़ता है जी. मैं पहले 2 महीने में ये करेगा, नेक्स्ट 2 महीने में ये काम करेगा, थर्ड 2 महीने में ऐसे काम करेगा. आप अगर ऐसा प्लानिंग नहीं करते हो ना, ये आदमी जैसा हाल हो जाएगा. ही इज अ वेरी गुड रिसर्चर, but he doesn't know the timeline. Timeline is very, very important in a research proposal. So whenever you make a research proposal, please mention about the timeline. ये देखिए, मैं ऐसा करके टाइमलाइन बनाती हूँ. मैं हमेशा मंथली टाइमलाइन बनाती हूँ. ये मंथ में मेरा इतना काम होना चाहिए, सेकेंड मंथ में मेरा इतना काम होना चाहिए. टाइमलाइन इज वेरी, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. रेफरेंसिंग आपको देना पड़ेगा. एनी स्टाइल में, MLA स्टाइल, APA स्टाइल, जो भी आप स्टाइल लेते हो. प्लेगरिज्म के बारे में मैंने बोला, आप जब भी रिसर्च प्रपोजल बना रहे हो, प्लेगरिज्म टेस्ट करके ही सबमिट करना. मे बी इट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड फॉर दिस वर्कशॉप, बट जब भी आप फंडिंग का लिए UGC और ICSSR का दे रहे हो, प्लेगरिज्म टेस्ट करके ही आपको देना पड़ेगा. Generally, remember one thing: when you're making a research proposal, it has to be very concise and very crisp. You have to be very, very clear on the language and grammar. आप लोग अगर कोई भी इंग्लिश में पुअर है तो बार बार पढ़िए. इट इज नॉट दैट आपको एकदम शेक्सपियर इंग्लिश यूज करके रिसर्च प्रपोजल लिखना चाहिए, कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. सिंपल इंग्लिश में लिखिए, बट लैंग्वेज एंड ग्रामर बहुत क्लियर होना चाहिए. टाइम्स न्यू रोमन यूज कीजिए. फॉन्ट साइज विल बी 12. लाइन स्पेसिंग शुड बी 1.5. मार्जिन शुड बी 2 at the left and 1.5 on the other sides. So I think now everyone will talk. Everyone knows what is the research proposal. I will just go back. And tell you again what you have to write. First point, project title, then abstract. Uske baad introduction, conceptual framework. Uske baad problem statement. Problem statement se problem research objective and hypothesis. Review of literature. Research methodology, primary and secondary data. आपका प्रोजेक्ट, आपका रिसर्च प्रपोजल नया किस तरफ का है, न्यूनेस क्या है, देन इम्प्लीकेशन कैसे होगा सोसाइटी के ऊपर, बजट कितना लगेगा, कितना टाइम लगेगा, रेफरेंस क्या है, और प्लेगियरिज्म. So I think now every one of you are very, very clear on how to write a research proposal. And I'm sure everyone has already started thinking to write a research proposal. So my friends, I wish you good luck with my research, with your research, with our research. I have tried to explain you in Hindi. If I've missed out on somewhere, please do excuse me, but I'm sure every one of you have understood the concept and the format of writing a research proposal. So आज का सेशन में हम लोग क्या क्या सीखा, एथिक्स इन एकेडमिक रिसर्च राइटिंग सीखा, क्या क्या हम लोग को फॉलो करना चाहिए, कौन कौन स्टेक होल्डर होता है, छोटा एक्टिविटी किया, we have to avoid falsification, fabrication and plagiarism, and then we have learned about research proposal. and ये research proposal में आपका ये 10 points होना ही चाहिए, then only it will be a successful research proposal. Thank you very much.
Yes. So now are you all ready? All the participants? आप लोग सब तैयार है लिखने के लिए? 4 तारीख तक का डेट दिया गया है, घबराइए मत. हम लोग आपको डराने के लिए नहीं, आपको प्रोत्साहित करने के लिए, आपको एनकरेज करने के लिए हम लोगों ने इस वर्कशॉप का आयोजन किया. हम चाहते हैं कि आप रिसर्चर बने और सही तरीके से अच्छे रिसर्चर बने. एनईपी का यही मकसद है. 4th year of graduation study will be research based study. So like yesterday we had our resource person saying that not everyone can become a researcher. ये बात सही है. जो academics में नहीं रहना चाहते हैं वो research नहीं करना चाहते, ये बात भी है. लेकिन मैं आपको ये बता दूं कि हर जॉब में there is some research, whether it is marketing. अगर आप marketing में भी जाएंगे तब भी आपको थोड़ा research करना पड़ेगा. आप मैनेजर बनेंगे किसी कंपनी का तब भी आपको रिसर्च करना पड़ेगा. आप फाइनेंशियल एनालिस्ट बनेंगे तब भी रिसर्च करना पड़ेगा. तो ये मत सोचिए कि रिसर्च जो है वो सिर्फ एकेडमिक से जुड़ा हुआ है. हम लोगों ने आपको दिशा देने की कोशिश की और मुझे उम्मीद है कि आपको समझ में आया होगा, because I can see many of you are writing that it's a very informative session and thank you very much, ma'am. Ma'am has covered a lot of topics because हमारा ये 5 दिन का ये वर्कशॉप था जिसमें we were trying to cover up a lot, because research is not a, you cannot do say about research in a nutshell. वो संभव ही नहीं है. इसीलिए कोई भी डाउट regarding your budgeting, regarding your time frame, regarding your research question, anything you want to ask, you can ask. Regarding literature review, जो भी आपको पूछना है आप पूछ सकते हैं. कौशल कुमार मुखर्जी, क्या आप हैं यहाँ पर?
Even Sudeep Ekka wants to has a
Yes,
question.
Yes, Sudeep Ekka, yes, your question please.
It is so nice to receive a question now.
Yeah.
Am I audible to you, ma'am?
Yes, very much.
Good afternoon, ma'am, and thank
Good
you.
afternoon.
First of all, thank you very much for your informative session.
Sudeep, can you introduce yourself, please? Sudeep, you are muted. Yes, please introduce yourself.
Actually, there was a network problem, I think.
Okay, please introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my name is Sudeep Ekka. I am a research scholar of English at Ranchi University.
Okay. Again, he has muted himself. Sudeep, kindly unmute.
I think somebody else, we can take somebody else's question.
Yes,
Somebody
Sudeep, you can put your question in the chat box. Yes, Sudeep, please.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, okay, sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, my question is, ma'am, that being a research scholar of humanities, that specifically from English background, and ma'am, I want to ask that, ma'am, how to prepare a good hypothesis. Actually, ma'am, basically, we are the students of literature, and basically we deal with the analytical study of anything of that, especially specifically related to English literature or language.
Yeah, in this case, see, there are exceptions. In some researches, you will find there are no research hypothesis, and there can be a research question, or there can be none. It is not necessary. In that case, you will have concepts. You know, if you do not have a research hypothesis, definitely you're dealing with some concepts, right? Some thought process. You can include that, but it's not an essential part. And you have to put in your research question, or you have to put in your research hypothesis.
Yes, ma'am. Basically, we deal with the qualitative methodology.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nowadays, qualitative research is just an upcoming field. Actually, everyone was focusing only on quantitative research. But now, if you see the high-level researchers are only qualitative research. And qualitative research also, I'm not talking of English literature. I'm talking about other subjects where you conduct a survey. You have fantastic statistical tools which can be used. Anyway, when you're from English, you're dealing with dealing with research differs from subject to subject. So yours will be totally an analysis part, not a quantitative analysis, right?
Exactly, ma'am.
Yeah. So it depends on subject to subject, but every time you have to make it understand, and it is essential. It is an essential part of research. You're not just doing a research to decorate your title, to add a doctorate degree to your title. It is an important part. Some innovativeness should be there.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello,
Yes.
madam.
Yes, Mullah sir from Karnataka, please.
Yes, madam.
Please.
Very important session, madam. अभी बहुत अच्छा madam बताए. That is very important. And one or two clarification, madam. Datta
Yes.
madam. UGC will be staff 12th to 2017. Funding agency will be staff, financial assistant, madam. And ICS are also there at present. What about others funding agencies are there in India, madam?
Now see, now it becomes a different session altogether about the funding agencies, but UGC is having a makeover actually. Now they're thinking of removing UGC and bringing a new, right, directly from PM's office, maybe it will come. And ICSSR is still giving. Even regional offices of ICSSR is still, at least in Maharashtra, it is giving. Regional offices. Okay. And not only that, you can also apply to a university. I don't know about Karnataka University, but Mumbai University have a facility, of giving funds. Maybe you cannot take it in lakhs, but till 1 lakh rupee, Mumbai University also funds.
Okay, madam.
But you have to work in Mumbai University. You can see from Karnataka University. Yeah.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Yes, may I add something, Maushmi?
Yes, please.
Yes, Mullah sir, there are a number of NGOs, there are a number of private philanthropic organizations. Azim Premji gives, this type of encourages research in a small scale. Tata does it. So there are philanthropic organizations you can take. Then there is Department of Higher Education in every state. They also give. Then Women and Child Development. These are some of the agencies which give. Maybe they will not give in crores, but they will give.
Yeah, they give.
Okay, madam. Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Yes, Kaushal. Yes, Kaushal, please.
नमस्ते मैडम, नमस्ते. मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है मौसमी मैडम.
Yes.
नमस्कार. मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है, बनाते हम लोग कोई भी रिसर्च में उसको तो कहीं ना कहीं रिलेट करना पड़ेगा उसके उद्देश्य से, या कुछ ऐसा चीज होगा तो मैडम उसको हम लोग को थोड़ा हमको क्लियर करा दीजिए ना।
मैं आपको बोली ना, रिसर्च मतलब एक रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम लेके हम लोग डील करते हैं।
जी,
रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम जब, जैसे मैंने एग्जांपल दिया पोल्यूशन का, जो इधर आपका रिफ्यूज है इसीलिए वाटर बॉर्न डिजीजेस हो रहे हैं, तो उधर से आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव डेवलप करना पड़ेगा। अगर प्रॉब्लम उद्देश्य आपका नहीं है, प्रॉब्लम अगर नहीं है, तो रिसर्च करके तो कुछ फायदा नहीं होता ना। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना, आप कौन सा सब्जेक्ट से हैं?
मैम मैं ज्योग्राफी से हूँ।
Very nice. We all belong to the geography fraternity. So like I have done, as I'm telling you, I have done a research on the traffic problems in Mumbai. Traffic problems. How can we solve the traffic problems in Mumbai? So traffic problem is a problem. उद्देश्य वही है. So वो लेके आप research कर सकते हैं. ज्योग्राफी में आप कौन सा कॉलेज से है? नाचिका कॉलेज से है?
मैम मैं एक्चुअली झारखंड गवर्नमेंट में पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट टीचर हूँ और
Okay.
मैं डॉक्टर रामकुमार तिवारी के अंडर में रिसर्च कर रहा हूँ
What
पीजी
is your
रांची।
physical geography? What is your this one? Area of study?
देवघर मैडम।
No. Area of study means what is your specialization?
माय स्पेशलाइजेशन एट एमए मेरा मैडम था।
Not MA, about your
नहीं कौशल कुमार जी, आप काम किस पर कर रहे हैं? फिजिकल ज्योग्राफी पे कर रहे हैं, कल्चरल
tourism
सोशल ज्योग्राफी का?
tourism में
कर रहे हैं।
tourism, so tourism में आप जिधर का भी tourism में, whichever field in you're doing in tourism, so you find out the problem in that case. No, that becomes आपका उद्देश्य है ना?
जी जी।
That is आपका उद्देश्य।
हाँ, देवघर पर मैं कर रहा हूँ मैडम। देवघर पर्यटन भूगोल में एक अध्ययन, मेरा टॉपिक हिंदी में ही है, मैं हिंदी में ही रिसर्च कर रहा हूँ।
हाँ, तो आपका देखिए, आप हिंदी में ही रिसर्च कर सकते हैं, लेकिन आपको प्रपोजल का फॉर्मेट तो सेम ही रहेगा।
जी सर, जी मैम।
ओके,
हाँ जी।
हाँ, सो ऐसा आपको, और हर रिसर्च ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड जो भी भाषा में करे, प्रॉब्लम लेके ही चालू होता है। प्रॉब्लम, अगर प्रॉब्लम लो और उसका सोल्यूशन 5 मिनट उसका सोल्यूशन, तो आपका उसको ही रिसर्च बोलते हैं। और आपको फ्रेम करना पड़ेगा जैसे हम लोग सिखाया है।
जी नहीं मैम, ऑब्जेक्टिव और हाइपोथेसिस को थोड़ा सा,
और आपका प्रॉब्लम है, जो प्रॉब्लम से अब मैंने आपको बोला, एक स्लाइड भी था, पॉइंट में आपको ऑब्जेक्टिव लिखना पड़ता है। ऑब्जेक्टिव का बाद आप हाइपोथेसिस डेवलप कर सकते हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल देवघर का, सो आप बोल सकते हो ना, इन देवघर द टूरिज्म सेक्टर इज डेवलप्ड। सेकंड ऑल्टरनेट करो, इन देवघर द टूरिज्म सेक्टर इज नॉट डेवलप्ड। सो लास्ट में रिसर्च का बाद आप प्रूफ करो विच वन इज करेक्ट, नल हाइपोथेसिस करेक्ट है या ऑल्टरनेट है। अगर डेवलप्ड है तो आपका स्टडी का तो कुछ प्रॉब्लम, आपका स्टडी करने का कुछ मायने ही नहीं रखता, बिकॉज ऑलरेडी डेवलप्ड है। डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ टूरिज्म आप कैसे डेवलप कर सकते हो। अगर नहीं डेवलप्ड है तो आप प्रूफ करो, आप रिकमेंडेशन दो जो कैसे आप डेवलप कर सकते हो। सिंपल, रिसर्च इज वेरी इजी, इट इज वी हु मेक इट कॉम्प्लिकेटेड। आपको सिर्फ रूल्स का अनुसार चलना चाहिए। प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई करो, वो प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई के बाद यू स्टार्ट डेवलपिंग। एम आई राइट देवजानी मैडम?
Yes, definitely, definitely. And Kaushal, I think you should stick to the time frame. He had the question on the very first day कि हम लोगों को देखते हैं they are struggling to finish a research, इससे मुझे डर लगता है। नहीं, कभी भी नहीं।
I told you about that, how the Gantt chart should be made. You have to make a time frame, otherwise it is very difficult, both for you as well as from your research guide also.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you ma'am.
Anyone else who would like to ask any questions?
हेलो मैम।
Yes, Naz Parveen, please.
जी मैम, मेरा ना, मैं हिंदी मीडियम से पढ़ी हूँ मैम। तो मैं बोलना चाह रही थी कि क्या मैं अपना प्रपोजल हिंदी में बना सकती हूँ? बिल्कुल
बना सकती हैं। भाषा कोई मायने, अभी प्रोफेसर दत्ता ने क्या कहा, भाषा मायने नहीं रखता। आपकी भाषा शुद्ध होनी चाहिए, वो ग्रामेटिकली करेक्ट होना चाहिए, ओके, एंड यू शुड बी एबल टू एक्सप्रेस, फॉर्मेट में होना चाहिए,
जी मैम।
ठीक है। आप कोई ऐसे नहीं लिख रहे हैं, आप एक प्रपोजल डाल रहे हैं कि मुझे इस पर काम करना है, चाहे वो काम कितना ही छोटा क्यों ना हो। जैसे कि आपके अपने कॉलेज कैंपस के अंदर आप जो देख रहे हो उस पर भी आप काम कर सकते हो। आपको अगर फीलिंग हो रहा है कि मेल एंड फीमेल कैंडिडेट्स, ठीक है, मेल्स आर ऑप्टिंग मोर फॉर साइंस सब्जेक्ट्स एंड कॉमर्स सब्जेक्ट, फीमेल्स आर ऑप्टिंग मोर फॉर ह्यूमैनिटीज, या प्लेसमेंट्स हो रहा है, कुछ कुछ सब्जेक्ट्स रिलेटेड प्लेसमेंट्स हो रहा है, ओके, ये जो सारी चीजें हैं इस पर स्टडी किया जा सकता है। ड्रॉप आउट रेट्स किस में जाता है, किस सब्जेक्ट में ड्रॉप आउट से जाता है, ये सब आप लोग कर सकते हैं। आपको कहीं दूर नहीं जाता, अपने नेबरहुड में देखिए, अपने नेबरहुड में हाई राइज बिल्डिंग्स देखिए, वाटर टेबल देखिए, कितने बोरवेल्स बनाए गए हैं, क्या डेप्थ है उसका, इससे आपको पता चल जाएगा कि आपका वाटर टेबल कितना नीचे गया है, ओके। These are some of the very important things you can contribute a lot to the society by doing small research. You don't have to do, or Maushami, I have given this to the students that they have to write the proposal within 3,000 words, okay, and they have to make a budget of 10,000 rupees. It's a 40-day project. तो 40 days में आप जो 10,000 का जो बनाओगे ना, उसमें आप स्टेशनरी का बिल, सब कुछ, आप ट्रैवल कर रहे हो तो उसका बिल, ठीक है, आप क्या क्या कर रहे हो, इंक्लूडिंग एवरीथिंग, यू कैन मेक अ प्रपोज इन द बजट एंड यू कैन सबमिट इट, वो अप्रूव हो जाएगा, आप उसको बनाए, दैट इज योर कैश प्राइज, आपको पैसा मिल जाएगा, यू विल नॉट हैव टू स्पेंड फ्रॉम योर पॉकेट। इज इट क्लियर? ऐसा शायद कभी भी किसी ने ऐसा मौका नहीं दिया। निर्मला कॉलेज इज Nirmala College has taken up this just to promote research in line with NEP 2020. हम लोगों को रिसर्च को आगे बढ़ाना है, आपके दिमाग से कुछ इनोवेटिव आइडियाज निकालना है। वो रोट लर्निंग का जमाना चला गया कि रटो और परीक्षा दो और नंबर लाओ। नो, वी हैव टू थिंक ऑफ समथिंग इनोवेटिव। आप प्रपोजल डालो, 10,000 का बजट में डालो, आपका प्रपोजल एक्सेप्ट होगा, आप काम करो, आपको पैसा मिल जाएगा। ये निर्मला कॉलेज की गारंटी है, बट इट शुड बी आउटकम बेस्ड। There should be some outcome. Am I clear to all the participants? Please put, what is the last date? Dravid Jain, are you in the group? We had put it in the group. Ki 4th is the last date. Okay, and you have to mail your proposal. So please mail your proposal by 4th. उसके बाद आपको सिर्फ 40 दिन मिलेंगे. You will get only 40 days, and please mail your proposal. So because today is the last day, we are going extending beyond time. I should not be holding up our resource person. May I now request?
Fine.
Yeah. So any other doubts, you can always connect with us. We at Nirmala College are always at your service. We will be giving certificates only after receiving project proposal. ओके, पहले प्रपोजल डालिए, उसके बाद आपको सर्टिफिकेट मिल जाएगा। पैसा मिलने के लिए आपको काम करना पड़ेगा। इट्स एज सिंपल एज दैट। ओके, सो आइए और ले जाइए, पैसा ले जाइए। थैंक यू सो मच। पिंकी।
Good afternoon, one and all present here. I am Dr. Pinky Pandey. It is an honor for me to thank you all. At the very first outset, I would like to thank our speaker for the day, Professor Mosami Datta, for the knowledge dissemination with us. Indeed, the participants are blessed. On behalf of Nirmala College fraternity, I would like to express my gratitude to all esteemed delegates of the 5-day international workshop on research capacity building for early career researchers for their presence and contribution to make this workshop a great success. I thank all the speakers of our international workshop, Professor Isita Mukhopadhyay, Professor Rekha Pandey, Professor Swadata Basu, Professor Ranjana Srivastava, and Professor Mosami Datta for dedicating their time for this workshop from their busy schedule. Thank you for inspiring and encouraging us with your words. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Honorable Principal cum Chief Patron, Dr. Sister Jyoti. Thank you, Sister, for providing immense support to make the workshop successful. I would also like to thank our Vice Principal, Dr. Sister Shobha. My sincere gratitude to our workshop coordinator, Dr. Virginie Roy. Thank you, ma'am, for your constant support and guidance. I thank all the participants once again for their active participation. Last but not the least, I would like to thank my co-host, Mrs. Prachi Politika, for conducting the workshop seamlessly. Thank you everyone for making it a great success. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you one and all.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you very much. I will.
Can you all switch on your videos, please? Can we take a small pic, please? All of you, please switch on your videos. Yeah, we can take a small pic, please. All of you. Ye last day hai, and this can be our, remembering everyone. Please. I think some of them have left already. Yes, sister is also here. Thank you, sister. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.